Thank you. So, as Rui said, I'm Jérémie. I work as a lead software architect at DH Hospitality. This is a company that works in the hotel industry. And I've been there for almost 16 years, and I'm still, since this time, I started learning DDD when I joined the company, and I've been an active member of the company since that time. So that's thought to be quite a long time. And I've also created a board game a few years ago, which is called Crazy Farmers on the Clôture Électrique, yes, with a kind of strange mix of French and English name. And with all that, all this history, here, maybe you have already seen some talks I did here at NewCrafts or somewhere else. Usually I do things like live coding with ukulele or explaining applicative functors, but here it will be really, really different because this will be a return of experience. This is different also because this is the first time I'm not alone. I will present with Emmanuelle. We will present together. And this is also different because there will be slides. And this is something I usually don't do. So yeah, very different. So Emmanuelle.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm sorry for my English. It will be a Frenglish or something like that. Sorry for my accent. I will read a lot because I'm not very used to speaking English. In fact, it's the first time I do a talk like this in English, so very, very sorry. First of all, I would present myself. I'm a stage director and a legal expert in anti-discrimination laws, and I'm an activist, feminist activist for over 20 years now. So shall I say the story when we met, how we met, something like that? Or?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Well, we too met online because I needed advices to design my board game. I mean, the board game I co-created with other people called Transmission. This game aims at raising awareness about gender-based violence and struggling against systemic discrimination in public space. And it is a collaborative process based on participants' testimonies, sort of a documentary game. It has been developed over more than 3 years now with different groups of people of all ages from 12 to 74, 5 6,
yeah.
On different cities in Paris, in the suburban of Paris and in France. And maybe we can quickly speak about the rules.
Yeah. So,
okay.
At your turn, you draw a situation card, like this one, that describes what happens, and read it.
In this one, you are a middle-aged woman assaulted by a man on her way to work. And in the other one, this one, you play a young boy, a young teenager black boy enduring racial slurs in the bus.
Yeah, and then you must select a strategy to react, like this. All have been written by participants, just like testimonies, okay? So, here. And at this point, the other players...
they are called witnesses.
Yeah, the witnesses can step in with a green card like this, the green card on the left. They can bring their help and support to the player. And with a red card, be careful, they advise to select a different strategy and argue to convince the player to change their mind.
As a player, you must answer. A green card means thank you for your help, merci beaucoup. And you play together, but you can also use the red card, which says mind your own business, de quoi je me mêle, and then you play alone.
Yeah, the consequences can be positive or negative, just like in real life. And if you win against the system.
Yes, you win against the system.
The system is the system of operations that create systemic discriminations. And if you lose, the system gets stronger.
Yeah.
You have to be careful. When the system gets too strong, all players lose.
Yep. So we were working on this online version of the game, and I contacted Jérémie for that purpose.
Yeah, so not only it's my day work, but also my hobby since I was a kid. And I also ported the previous game I created with a friend, and I ported it online. So this is something I can do, and I said, okay, I'm on it.
And I said, not too fast, because my experience as feminist activist and practicing popular education, aka edupop in French, is not to do it alone and to start from where we are. And we were a small group of people with very basic technical knowledge, but very ambitious goals of struggling against sexist behaviors.
Yeah.
Very ambitious. As we started to think about how we would proceed, many questions arose, and we didn't want to answer them on our own, so we wanted to continue with this collaborative process. So we decided to organize sort of workshops. The board game was about abuses in public space. We told this before. So we decided to transpose the issues of the online version in the digital public space.
But yeah,
which is the difference.
First of all, we try to wonder, what is public space? So I asked the question, what is public space?
According to you?
According to you?
Social networks.
Yeah.
Well, this
but
one is digital.
in the real world.
You're right.
In the physical world, what is the public space? No?
Streets.
Yeah, streets. Yes.
What else?
Places. Which kind of other places?
Subways.
Subway. Yeah, public transportation, buses, and all that.
Swimming pool.
Oh, swimming pools. Yeah.
Restaurants.
Yeah, we have a situation which takes place in a restaurant. Movie theaters.
Avenues, places.
Shops and malls. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And this is places that are open to everyone.
Shared places.
Shared space. Yeah. And no, what is a digital public space? Laurent proposed like social network. Actually, the term has no official definition. This is not something that really exists for now. Which means that everything in the digital world is private.
Yeah, but even private is politics, say feminists.
Yeah, yet all these social networks, the website and the application are places that we share with other people and interact with them like we use streets, like we use coffee shops, public transportation places, swimming pools and all that.
Public services and everything like that. And we can find the same behaviors, bias, discriminations, abuses done in real life. That's the point.
Yeah, okay, but this is not due to technology. It's about how people use them.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
What about, these Facebook ads which have been displayed in a discriminatory way? The title of the ads, job ads, containing the offers were neutral, but it's when Facebook takes the reins to target the audience that discrimination occurs. The test showed that Facebook algorithm exclude women at posteriori and against the will of the recruiters from job opportunities that are otherwise better paid. As a consequence, 80% of high-income job offers were being presented to men, and 80% of lower-income job offers, mostly in care sector, were to women.
On this one, LACAF, you know LACAF? This is a French government body that helps families by offering different services and benefits. And La Quadrature du Net, which is a French
non-profit organization.
Yeah, non-profit organization specialized in protecting online freedom and privacy. They found out that the algorithm targeted deliberately the most precarious beneficiaries, disabled people, single moms, disemployed, with a suspicion score.
If you were one of them, the probability of being controlled was doubled.
Yeah, and this one is.
This one is very cool.
This one is cool.
Very new too.
So, yeah, this one is happened in Austria. There was a bot created with OpenAI that advised men to work in computer science and women with the exact similar profile to work in food services.
Well, not only the bot had technical flaws, but also it produces a lot of gender bias. These biases are linked to the very functioning of the technology which was used by the employment service, and they were known before the launch of the conversational robot that these biases were existent. What about this one, Amazon hiring algorithm? Well, it just ended up rejected all female candidates.
Yeah, they had to get rid of it after a few months, of course. And this one is a bit different. This is about Apple Watch, you know, this super smart watch that a lot of people like. But you know that there is a feature which is a heart rate monitor that alerts you if you have a heart attack, okay? And the question that I could find multiple times on Reddit is, does it work with for black people with black skin? And the response is, not that much. So this person, let's say a woman, I don't know, went to the hospital because it was reporting a too low heart rate. And she was scared, and she went to the hospital, and they just said, oh no, that's a problem with the watch. But this other one, let's say it's a man, I don't know, went to the store to get a refund or to change it. And they tested 5 other models. And then the people in the store said, oh, it's just because it works only for normal skins. Ouch. Yeah, this is really not good. This one, yeah, in the US, the hospitals, public hospitals, and the insurance companies are using a software with an algorithm which recommends different treatments for the same symptoms, depending on whether your skin is black or not.
Yeah, even the decision-making software used by public hospitals in the USA is racist, has racist biases. Mm-hmm. Well, do you see a pattern?
Mm-hmm.
And this?
And this. you know, this is a study done by Bloomberg about stable diffusion. Stable diffusion is this AI, generative AI, which will produce photographs and images based on text prompt.
And it gives some enlightening results.
Oh, this one is a prompt for a color photograph of an engineer.
How many women?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no.
No. How many women? No. And this one, this is a color photograph of a fast food worker. Do you see something? Seems quite obvious. Oh, they're all black.
Oops.
Which? And this one, a photograph of a housekeeper. Oh.
So many women.
Here, oh yeah. No. this one, color photograph of a judge. There are a few women, not that much, but if you look closely, these pictures are super creepy.
Some are paintings.
Yeah.
The two of them, this one and this one, whoop, la. Whoop, this one is painting.
Yeah, I think I will get some nightmares.
I am like a cat.
This one is a picture, color photograph of politicians. Very white and very male, mostly. Social worker, mostly black women. A teacher, women.
Okay. We've done.
Architect, oh, white males, oh, so surprising. Again, cashier, women, doctors, that's all the same.
Well, the question is, do you see a pattern?
Shown like that, yeah, we can see. In dark green, this is men. In light green, this is there are the women, and you can see that the high-paying occupation are mostly returning men pictures, while the low-paying occupation mostly women.
But AI is just engineering, no? It's not people. I mean, stable diffusion is only reflecting the state of the world.
Yeah, probably. The thing is that here we can see that stable diffusion is doing worse than reality.
Well, not only does AI reproduce biases, but it also reinforces the gap between output and reality. For instance, in the stable diffusion results, women were underrepresented in high-paying occupations and overrepresented in low-paying ones. And the situation was similar for people of color. So it's more complex to compare the results because of the experiment which measures skin tone. You see, on the other pictures, with public demographic data which measures race and ethnicity.
So here, to understand the graphic, women make up 39% of doctors, but only 7% of the image result. So this is a difference of 32, and points. You can see that for high-paying occupation, it's mostly in that direction, but for lower, it's in the other direction.
Yes.
So, but the thing is that the company who designed this system, at least probably didn't have bad intents.
Yes, but the ones being discriminated are always the same. Despite minutious researches, you can trust us.
Yeah.
We've not found example of rich, white, straight men being discriminated by technology. Think about it. Would the heart rate monitoring of the Apple Watch be released if it didn't work on white skin?
Probably not. And would the Amazon hiring algorithm be released if it selected 100% women?
No.
No.
It would be fixed.
It would be fixed, yes, to become normal.
Normal.
Okay?
But who decides what is normal? And who decides when it's okay to release while designing these applications?
You probably have noticed it, but diversity in development team is often abysmal, right? According to World Health Organization, 1 person out of 8, 12% approximately, is disabled, which means more than 1 billion people in the world. How many colleagues with disabilities do we have in our development teams? In my case, I don't know, and that's a problem. Yeah, at least probably none, or maybe very, very few. Here you can see that 96%, 95.9% of the top 1 million home pages on the internet are not accessible. Would you release a website that you cannot use?
In France, less than 1 girl out of 5 and more than 3 out of 4 boys is oriented in engineering studies. How many female colleagues do you have in your development team?
A few, and Rich is here in the room, but yeah, really not enough.
Not
And
enough.
that's a problem.
Well,
Yeah.
the fact is that all biases are reinforced by funding too. In 2020, according to Feminism, which is a book written by a French journalist called Mathilde Saliou, and a very good book. 60% of venture capital firms do not have any female partner. And Sequoia Capital, which is one of the world's leading company, took 44 years to hire its first female investor, less than 8 years ago. Which is my age. His president, however, had a motto during all this time. His recruitment policy was blind to sex, religion, and history, of course.
Yeah. The companies who found the digital economy are still mostly white and male.
And this has a direct effect.
Yeah, in 2021, in France, a man raised 60% more funds than a woman, according to a BBCG survey, and 88% of the amount was captured by only male teams. That's just, and to add to that, no single fundraising above 50 million euros was carried out by a 100% team this same year.
Bad news. Female teams are generally 4 times less well-funded than men's team, and the gap is worsening every year. As a result, only 12% of startups are created or co-created by women. In digital company models, 1 woman out of 2 says she had already been victim of sexist behavior. This is 8 points more than in the other sectors of economy. Well, good news. Startups co-created by women perform better.
Yeah, for every dollar invested, the fund recover twice as much with women-only team than with men-only team. If women were equally represented in the digital sector, this would result in a gain of around 9 billion euros per year for European GDP. And parity in France, parity in digital would generate 10% more GDP, according to McKinsey study.
Do you see a pattern? Bias in funding implies bias in application design, implies systemic discrimination in digital spaces.
This shows that discrimination are systemic. Systemic sexism, systemic racism, systemic ableism, and so on.
Well, now let's talk about some discriminations created by users themselves. We chose to focus on sexist cyber violence, but the same problems occur with other types of violence. For instance, 3 women out of 4 have been confronted to online abuses, according to UNESCO.
Yeah, and one hateful threat message is targeted at influent women every 30 seconds in the US and the UK. This is Amnesty International. This is one hateful message, just the time to say this sentence.
And two.
Yeah, true now.
Black women have 84 more risks of being insulted than white women online.
One message out of 8 posted on social networks is a hateful message. In 2020, a French survey over 5 months sampled 13 million messages containing hateful keywords. There were roughly 50% of these messages that were actual hateful messages. The others were talking about it. So roughly 7 million messages, hateful messages. 5 million amongst them were targeting women. 5 millions. 1 million was targeting LGBT people.
Let us talk about a story of a participant of our workshop. She is in her 60s and she chose this username Sexagenial, which means in her 60s and fabulous one, and it's good. Well, and she has been harassed by men for months on Instagram.
On Instagram, yes.
She had to close her account and find a new name. The saddest part of this story is that the abusers led her to think that she should have selected her name more wisely. This is a well-known strategy for reversing guilt.
Yeah, and the effects in real life are that 1 woman out of 2 who suffered this abuse felt a physical danger. There are panic attacks, sleep loss, loss of self-confidence.
3 out of 4 changed their online habits. A majority stopped publishing or closed even their accounts.
For instance, female gamers. They often use male nicknames to avoid repeated harassment in MMO games.
But if the chat is vocal, what happens? They don't play. Yeah,
the strategy is to drive them off the space. Just like in the real world. You're not welcome here, it's a boys' club.
It's called homosociality in sociology.
Yeah, this kind of attack targeting women is specific.
Very specific.
Appearance, rape, threats, doxing.
Revenge porn, porn deepfakes, etc.
This type of attacks is marginally used against men, except LGBT people. And toward men, they are far less violent, usually. For instance, Fisher accounts. I don't know if you know Fisher accounts. This is a kind of slut-shaming online, creating groups or sharing with the account nudes, revenge porn, and things like that, that target mostly girls by an overwhelming majority. This is something that never happens to men.
Well, of these enlightened strategies of flooding and humiliation to force women out of digital space.
As soon as you design an application or a website that allows people to interact directly, chats, comments, direct messages, without regulation, this will happen.
The question is not if it will happen. The question is when it will happen.
Yeah, and if you don't design explicitly against this violence, you are actually enabling them. Harassment becomes a feature of your application.
Well, the question I want to share with you today is can we and how to create alternative scenarios? And what could be our role?
Our role, yes.
In these scenarios?
Yeah. We engineers, like the people here, we create infrastructure. Infrastructure is politics. When an highway is built, it reduces distance on one side, but it also expropriates owners and split the landscape. It potentially develops the local economy in some places, but it devaluates others. At the same time, destroying fertile lands and forests. What do we need more? More highways or more fertile lands?
I will say this is politics.
Yeah, and when cell phone networks are deployed, where are antennas installed first? In the center of the cities or in more remote locations?
Politics.
Yeah. And bike lanes?
Car parks.
Car parks.
Political.
This is political. Hospitals or luxury resorts?
Political.
And public school?
Pas political.
Yeah, sure. And Google?
Or Framasoft? Political.
Yeah, political. Ubisoft? Or Indies?
Political.
OpenOffice or Microsoft?
Political.
Political, yeah. While doing the workshop, a young boy wrote this testimony. I was chatting on Discord, and as we were discussing about gender, I talked about the different kind of non-binarity. One of the people in the chat was saying it was a mental illness. So I tried to explain that they were wrong and that it was insulting. Guess what? The moderator decided to mute me.
Political. Peter Thiel, known for PayPal and early investor in Facebook, becoming advisor of Trump.
Political.
Twitter, bought by Elon Musk, letting Nazis flooding the network.
Oh, that highly political. And by the way, I closed my Twitter account and moved to Mastodon. There you can find a community that has the right moderation for you. You're not stuck with a Nazi. You can, you could say that you don't want to be involved in politics.
But you are already involved nonetheless.
Yeah, doing nothing, the laissez-faire, is siding with those who have the power.
This is highly political. When we say it's political, in fact, we mean that the relations of power and domination make specific categories of people invisible, discredit them, and impoverish them in favor of dominant categories.
Engineers try to do politics by changing infrastructure. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Please be aware of what you do.
Yeah. And designing a board game and port it online are two things that I had already done before. But Emmanuelle really pushed me out of my comfort zone with this project. For my previous game, Crazy Farmers and the Clôture Electric, we were two, Quentin and I. We worked for several years on the game design, before testing with other players. Of course, we did some tests, and after the test, we made some adjustments, tweaking parameters, simplifying the rules to make the game easier to play, fixing problems that arise in unforeseen situations. And in the last year, we finally found a publisher, and we made a few more changes with them. But most of the game design had already been done. I developed the online version alone during COVID in 2020, trying to stick as much as possible to the tabletop version. Of course, the online port had a few differences because of different constraints, but I took most of the change decision alone, again, fixing some problem or following some suggestion after the phase of beta test. But transmission, the game we are creating all together, is a totally different experience. All the game design has been collaborative. We've done more than 20 workshops, and all aspects of the game have been decided collectively. Some of the workshops were in secondary schools, classroom with 25 teenagers, like 13 or 14. with not optimal attention span. I think I can say like that. And as you guess, it's not my comfort zone. I've done workshop before, but with smaller groups and smaller, usually a group of seasoned developers. So this is definitely a different experience, and I was clearly not in an expert position during this workshop. But they were enthusiastic.
Not clearly.
Clearly, yeah. They were enthusiastic, really happy to collaborate to a board game, and they had very good suggestions to improve the game, and they shared stories that contributed to the game situation, one that we have seen at the beginning, and these stories that we would never have conceived ourselves. We also made 9 workshops with another group to work on the illustration. Emmanuelle will show you some of the cards during this time. So with this group, we work on illustration and the card testimonies. They were mostly women over 60, right? So yeah. They produced the wonderful drawing that you see on the card. And this happened after we discussed together what the game could look like and what message they wanted to convey. I really think that these illustrations are far more interesting than what a single illustrator would have done. We're also gathering with a group every 2 weeks to work on the rule of the game and the game design. We play, we try different options, we discuss trade-offs. The game topic is political, so we discuss a lot the political meaning of each rule so that it makes sense. The participants bring new ideas, questions, concerns. The result is far better than what we would have done alone. This process can seem slower. Arguing and finding consensus takes time. Creating games takes time. Crazy Farmers took 7 years. 7 years, yes. But transmission is almost ready after less than 2 years. So maybe it's faster. During the workshop, the collaboration with these people reminded me of what we do when we do domain-driven design. The one who knows the real problems are not the developers. Developers know how to develop, period. But they are not in the field. Trying to guess how people work, practice their activity every day is a recipe for failure. The design is done with people who know the domain expert. And in our case, the domain is public space. Is there anyone that knows everything about public space? Probably not. So involving many different people in the process enabled us collectively to build a view, larger view, part after part. We needed many domain experts. A young black teenager has very different experience of public transportation than a 75-year-old woman. Both are important. Domain-driven design should follow the track of EducPop, popular education, empowering people and build things together with what they are, what they know, and what they can do. There is no expert. Everybody is an expert. The online version was also designed collaboratively during workshops. This was a different group. We played first the board game to be familiar with the rules and discuss about how each one lives in their own life space. Some are comfortable with technology, others far less. Most have been subject of different kind of abuse online or suffered from applications that had not taken their specificities into account. The goal was to create an online game that would not cause this kind of violence. So we used event storming. You know probably what it is, with the sticky notes on events, saying what happened is the system, the game started, the player selected the strategy, and the thing is that you can use event storming with people that know nothing about the technology. So we did this event storming, and as always with event storming, this reveals uncertainties and trigger interesting debates. While discussing how to find other players to start a game, one of the participants, who was LGBT, suggested that playing with random people could be unsafe, and that creating non-mixed games would be probably preferable. I must guess that this is a problem I would never have found by myself. I've never been harassed online. So, but creating safe spaces is essential in a game that revives traumas. At some point, if you remember, when I presented the rule of the game, a witness can step in and advise the player of a different strategy using a green card, be careful, or be careful card. They need to argue to convince the player that the proposed strategy is better. This requires discussion and interactions. And here we enter the danger zone. Creating a chat without moderation is a way to put some user at risk of abuse. Moderation takes time and care on the whole new part of the system to design, because the users need a way to report inappropriate behaviors. Moderators must be alerted. The reaction delay should be short for people to feel safe. They need a maintenance interface to manage the report, evaluate the situation, discuss with the person who called for help, and warn or ban the abusers. The user interface should be able to display those messages, warning and the reason of the ban. The site needs a code of conduct, explaining clearly what are unacceptable behaviors and the policy for banning users. This is thing that we figured out while doing all this modeling. Domain-driven design tries to tackle complexity in the heart of software, recognizing that domain complexity is often orders of magnitude superior to technical complexity. And this is the super interesting part of DDD. This is the part I love. I really like. Focusing on subtleties of the domain, discovering the richness of the problem, the diversity of scenarios, and take it seriously as a primary concern to address. Working with Emmanuelle on transmission and its collaborative approach, I can feel I've done this to a new level. This profoundly showed my view of how to design things, games, and applications. I had long session with domain expert previously, but talking with all these persons feels very different, because none of them consider themselves as experts, and I totally stepped out of my position of expert too. I've been for long concerned by political aspects of software and technology, but this also took another dimension with this project. I've been an activist in the field, and now I can say, design your domain model. Designing a model domain without taking its political implication into account is being neglectful. Software is political.
That's all. We have to.
Yeah. So you have to engage with people with diverse experience, listen to specific use case, different stories, hidden difficulties. Don't design your system for people who play life in easy mode. Yeah, I mean white, straight, male. Embrace the world complexity and people diversity the same way you engage in domain complexity. It's actually part of it.
That's all. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Well, now it's your turn to see the pattern.
These are association and resources that you can look for more information on this subject if you want to take a picture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.